Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're heading north, well, to a specific part of the north of England anyway. We're exploring Yorkshire.
A county with a really fierce identity and a history that's just incredibly deep.
Exactly. And we're also looking at its, maybe, most famous export, the Yorkshire Terrier.
That's right. We've got a load of sources here, articles, history bits, stuff on the culture, the geography.
And even deep dives into looking after the Yorkie itself, health, care, all that.
Yeah. So our mission really is to unpack all this, pull out the key bits, and help you get a real feel for what makes Yorkshire and the Yorkie so unique.
Okay, let's get into it. Yorkshire itself. The sources really hammer home this strong regional identity.
They really do. You hear about tykes. That's the sort of affectionate nickname, and how for many, identifying as Yorkshire folk comes first, maybe even before English or British.
That's a strong statement of identity, isn't it?
It is, and the history kind of explains it. You dig into the sources and you see these layers. Before England was even a concept, you had Celtic tribes like the Brigantes here, powerful groups.
Right, and then the Romans arrived.
Yeah, they set up Eboracum, which, is modern-day York, became a major base for them, administrative, military.
Wasn't there a famous emperor connected to York?
Constantine the Great, proclaimed emperor right there in 306 AD, a huge moment in Roman history happening in Yorkshire.
Wow. Okay, so Celts, Romans,
Yeah.
what came next?
Well, after the Romans left, the Angles moved in, formed kingdoms like Northumbria, but then a big shift, the Vikings, late 9th century.
Ah, the Jorvik connection.
Exactly. They conquered big chunks, set up the kingdom of Jorvik, York as the capital, left a massive mark linguistically, culturally, before it all got folded back into England.
And then the Normans on top of that.
Yep, the Norman conquest added another layer. Castles, abbeys changed the whole social structure.
So it's this incredible mix: Celtic, Roman, Anglo-Saxon, Viking, Norman. It's no wonder the identity feels so distinct.
And you can apparently hear that history in how people speak.
Yorkshire dialect.
Yeah, the dialect, the accent, the sources trace it back to Old English from the Angles and Old Norse from those Vikings.
Is the full dialect still common?
Maybe less so in everyday chat now, according to the sources. But the accent's definitely still strong. And interestingly, it's often seen across the UK as sounding like trustworthy, friendly.
That's fascinating. It sort of speaks to the character, maybe?
Perhaps. And even if the full dialect's rarer, loads of colloquialisms hang on.
Like what? Any examples jump out?
Well, there's the unofficial anthem they mention on Ilkley Moor Bothat.
Which means?
On Ilkley Moor Without a Hat. It's this slightly funny folk song basically warning you about catching your death of cold if you go courting on the moors without a hat.
Only in Yorkshire. Okay, so deep history, proud people, unique way of speaking. What about the place itself? God's own county, they call it.
That's the one. And the name fits. The landscape is stunning and really varied because of the geology. Well, you've got the Pennines in the west, that's rugged, older Carboniferous rock. Then the North York Moors up northeast, big dramatic Jurassic landscapes. And then the Yorkshire Wolds, more rolling chalk hills, Cretaceous period, down towards the coast.
So proper mountains, wild moors, gentle hills, a bit of everything.
Exactly. And huge parts are protected. You've got big chunks of the Yorkshire Dales and North York Moors National Parks, bits of the Peak District too, plus areas of outstanding natural beauty like Nidderdale.
And the coast is meant to be pretty special too.
Oh, yeah. The sources highlight places like Bempton Cliffs. It's a massive RSPB reserve.
Seabirds, I guess. Lots of them.
Tens of thousands. Puffins, razorbills, kittiwakes, but especially gannets. It's one of the best places in the UK to see them nesting on the mainland. Apparently the noise in sight are just incredible.
Wow, I need to see that. And what about Spurn Point? That sounds unusual.
It is. It's this long, thin sand spit sticking out into the Humber Estuary, a national nature reserve. But it's constantly changing shape with the sea and weather. Really wild, great for birds.
Dynamic, yeah. And then there's that view James Herriot loved.
Ah, yes. The vet and author. He reckoned the view from Sutton Bank, looking out over the Vale of Mowbray, was the finest view in England. High praise.
Definitely. And these landscapes aren't empty, right? There are key towns and cities.
Of course. York, the historic heart, ancient city status. Leeds, now a huge financial center. Scarborough, Britain's oldest seaside resort, apparently. People have been going there for ages.
Okay, so history, character, stunning scenery. But the sources also mention some quirky stuff, traditions.
Oh yeah, this is where it gets fun. You saw the bit about ferret legging.
I did. What even is that?
Huh. Well, the sources say its origins are a bit murky. Maybe started with coal miners in pubs, seeing who could stand having ferrets down their tied-up trousers the longest.
Down their trousers? Seriously?
Seriously. Or maybe it came from poachers hiding ferrets from gamekeepers or just keeping them warm. Either way, it's memorable.
Memorable is one word for it. Takes a certain kind of something.
It does, but there are others, maybe less risky, like the Yorkshire pudding boat race.
Wait, boats made of Yorkshire pudding?
Giant ones, yeah. Varnished, apparently, then raced down a river. And the World Coal Carrying Championships started from a pub bet, naturally.
A pub bet to a world championship. Sounds about right. There was something about a horn blower.
In Ripon, yeah, an ancient tradition dates back centuries. Horns blown every night at 9 p.m. at the Market Cross. Used to signal the start of the night watch. Still happens today.
These traditions really paint a picture. Community, history, bit of eccentricity.
And speaking of community and maybe hardiness, the food. We have to mention the food.
Yorkshire pudding, obviously.
The star, yeah. Essential for a Sunday roast, but the sources note, historically, it was often served first with gravy.
Why first?
To fill people up. It was cheaper than meat. Smart, really. And it's the basis for toad in the hole, too, sausages baked in the batter.
Practical and tasty. What else stands out?
Wensleydale cheese, crumbly, lovely stuff. Pontefract cakes, they're a kind of licorice sweet. And York itself has this massive history with chocolate. Rowntree's, Terry's, huge names started there.
Chocolate orange.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so food's got character too. And beyond food and ferrets, Yorkshire's made big cultural waves, hasn't it?
Huge. Literature, for starters. The Bronte sisters, Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre from Haworth, totally inspired by the Moors.
Classic.
James Herriot, obviously, sharing the deals with the world. Even Bram Stoker got ideas for Dracula looking at Whitby Abbey on the coast.
That's quite a literary powerhouse. What about art? Music?
David Hockney, major British artist, he's from Bradford, paints Yorkshire landscapes a lot. And music, it's really diverse. You've got the folk stuff, like that Ilkley Moor song.
Right, the hat song.
Then bands like Pulp, Arctic Monkeys, both from South Yorkshire, huge in indie rock. And the sources even point to Yorkshire as a birthplace for Gothic metal.
Wow. Folk to goth metal. That's range. Okay, so that's the county, history, landscape, character. Let's switch focus to the little dog that shares the name, the Yorkshire Terrier.
Ah, the Yorkie, yeah. The sources all paint a picture of a massive personality in a tiny body. Feisty, proud, loyal, confident.
Doesn't sound like a dog that fades into the background.
Not at all. They definitely make their presence known. It's quite funny. They sort of seem to embody that same proud, maybe slightly stubborn spirit of the county.
Huh, maybe. So if you're living with one of these little characters or thinking about it, what did the sources say about looking after them?
Well, number one is grooming. That long, fine coat needs regular attention, daily brushing, ideally to stop it matting.
Makes sense. Anything else specific?
Ears are important. The hair can trap moisture, leading to infections, so keep the hair trimmed around the ear opening, clean them regularly with something vet-approved, especially after baths. Keep water out.
Good practical tips. What about overall health?
Understanding the potential hereditary issues is key. Things common in the breed. Responsible breeders screen for these, which helps.
So finding a good breeder is crucial.
Absolutely. Someone open about health testing. And having a good relationship with your vet is vital for catching anything early.
And nutrition must be important for a small dog like this.
Definitely. They need a diet tailored to their size and energy. Sources stress high-quality animal protein chicken, fish for muscle and energy. Fats are important too, especially omega-3s.
For coat, right?
Exactly, for that signature coat and skin health. And fiber, from veggies or whole grains, helps with digestion and keeping their weight right. Small dogs can gain weight easily.
So, diet's key for their physical health. But they're smart little dogs too, aren't they?
Very. The sources describe them as intelligent. And like us, intelligent breeds need mental stimulation, not just walks.
Keeps them out of trouble.
Yeah, prevents boredom, which can lead to, chewing things or excessive barking. Keeping their minds busy is really important for their happiness and behavior.
Right. So, mental exercise alongside physical.
Yeah.
The sources actually mentioned that specific programs focusing on mental stimulation can be great for smart dogs like Yorkies. Helps channel their intelligence positively.
That makes sense.
This is where something like Adrian Ferricelli's Brain Training for Dogs program fits in. It's designed around using games, interactive stuff, specifically to tap into that intelligence and improve behavior using positive reinforcement.
So engaging their brain in a structured way.
Exactly. It's a way to connect with your dog differently, give them challenges that are fun, but also beneficial. So if that sounds interesting for your own dog, you can find a link for more details about Adrian Faricelli's program. It's in the video description and also in the first pinned comment.
Good to know. So mental health is a big part of the picture.
Definitely. Now, okay, let's quickly touch on some of those specific health issues Yorkies can be prone to. Not to scare anyone, but just so owners are aware and can talk to their vet.
Right. Forewarned is forearmed. One common one mentioned is patelloluxation.
Slipping kneecaps.
Basically, yeah. Their kneecap can pop out of place, sometimes linked to their slightly bow-legged stance. You might see them do a little skip or hop when they run. Mild cases might just need management, but severe ones sometimes need surgery.
Okay, so watch for skipping. What about tracheal collapse?
That affects their windpipe. The cartilage rings can weaken in some small breeds, causing the airway to narrow, leads to this distinctive honking cough, especially when they're excited or pulling on a lead. Severe cases can really impact breathing.
Sounds unpleasant. Eyes, too, you mentioned.
Yeah, a couple of things. Lens luxation, where the lens in the eye shifts out of place. That's an emergency. Needs a vet ASAP to save vision. And dry eye, where they don't produce enough tears. That's usually a lifelong condition needing drops.
So any eye changes straight to the vet.
Got it.
There is also portosystemic shunt. Sounds complicated.
It is a bit. It's usually congenital, meaning they're born with it. A blood vessel bypasses the liver so toxins don't get filtered out properly. Puppies might be small, fail to thrive, show neurological signs, usually need surgery.
Tricky to spot early, maybe. And lastly, bladder stones.
Yeah, mineral buildups in the bladder can cause pain, straining to wee, sometimes blood. Treatment varies, special diets, maybe surgery, and they can make urinary infections more likely.
That is quite a list for a little dog. But like you said, knowing helps you spot things early and work with your vet.
Exactly. And the sources also mention dog insurance as a sensible thing to consider given some of these potential issues. Covers unexpected vet bills.
Wise advice for any pet owner, really.
Yep.
Okay, changing gears completely now, Yorkshire and sport. The sources make some big claims.
They do, and they seem pretty well founded. Football, for instance. FIFA apparently recognizes Yorkshire as the official birthplace of club football.
Really? How so?
Sheffield FC, founded 1857, it's the world's oldest football club, full stop.
The actual first club, wow.
And their ground, Sandygate Road, where they played the first ever inter-club match against Hallam FC, is the world's oldest football ground still in use. Guinness World Records verified.
That's incredible heritage.
And the Sheffield rules they developed heavily influenced the official laws of the game we use globally today. The guy who codified those laws, Ebenezer Cobb Morley, was from Hull in Yorkshire.
So, modern football owes a massive debt to Yorkshire. What about rugby?
Similar story in a way. The big split in rugby between amateur union and professional league largely started in the north, including Yorkshire. Working class players wanted broken time payments for missing work.
The money issue.
Yeah. And that crucial meeting that formed the Northern Union, which became the Rugby Football League, happened in Huddersfield at the George Hotel, 1895. Changed the game forever.
Fascinating. It wasn't just the big sports either, was it?
No, strong horse racing tradition too. Oldest race in England, the Kipling Coates Derby, started in 1519. Field hockey's big. Even traditional games like Ner and Spell, hitting a wooden ball with a stick, basically.
Never heard of that one.
Me neither before reading this. And cycling's huge now too. Hosted the Tour de France stages, got its own Tour de Yorkshire, produced amazing cyclists like Beryl Burton.
So from inventing rules to hosting massive events and producing champs. A real sporting powerhouse.
Seems that way. A competitive streak, maybe.
So there you have it. Our deep dive into Yorkshire, a place with just layers of history, this incredibly strong identity, amazing landscapes, really quirky traditions.
A big impact on sport, a distinct food scene.
And of course, we spent time with its canine namesake, the Yorkshire Terrier.
That little dog with the big personality, feisty, confident, loyal, capturing maybe a bit of that Yorkshire spirit itself.
It's interesting, isn't it, how a place's character, its history, might sort of echo in the creatures associated with it. That idea of a shared tenacity between the county and the dog.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. How place and identity connect, even across species, perhaps.
Something to mull over for sure.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the end of this deep dive.
Sending you all our love and inviting you to the next meeting.